There are few issues of greater importance than climate change. As a scientific institution that studies our planet's natural systems, we recognize the importance of being part of that public dialogue. Now, with the new administration in Washington, it is more important than ever that we take the right steps and make the right decisions when it comes to issues involving climate change.
We have, as a state, a responsibility for putting together both an inventory, an assessment of how we're doing on climate and an action plan for how we deal with that. The assessment, no surprise, what we see is by the middle of this century as much as a 3-degree Celsius increase for the state. To put that in some perspective, places like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh start to have a climate that looks more like Richmond and Washington, D.C. Some of what we're doing, one of the big things, there have been a couple initiatives over time. One, the Advanced Energy Portfolio Standard, which includes solar, includes wind as things that we require our electric generators to purchase. Come 2020, we hit the end of that. So one of the things we are looking to do, and we've received a federal grant actually to do this, is start a conversation around what's next for solar in particular. What does a solar future look like? We're going to continue to push forward, drive forward on renewable energy, energy efficiency, and managing the power fleet that we have to make sure we're getting the best environmental bang for the buck.
I just want to thank everybody who's in attendance here for being here tonight. I think it's a real strong indicator of the public interest in climate change and the passion that people bring to this issue. So thank you for showing up. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the public health implications of global climate change. Some impacts are going to be direct. Rising temperatures will directly cause heat-related illness or heat-related mortality. But there are also many more complex causal pathways and a host of impacts that can occur. For example, increasing CO2 and rising temperatures might increase the production of pollen, which can affect people with asthma or other respiratory conditions. Or extreme precipitation can degrade water quality, which can and could also damage water treatment plants, leading potentially to waterborne or even foodborne outbreaks. Rising sea levels certainly might result in population displacement, potentially conflict between societies, and a whole host of effects could obviously occur from that sort of situation. Now, predicting the magnitude of future impacts, particularly for these more complex causal pathways, is of course an uncertain endeavor, but it's safe to say that the more we do to prevent climate changes, the lower the risks of these human health impacts will be.
At Penn Environment, we believe that too many of the problems we're facing as a society is because we persist in old ways of thinking. Just take climate change, for instance. For more than 100 years, Pennsylvania has been the center of our energy system in America. Oil and coal heated our homes and powered our economy, and in the end, it has had dire consequences for our health and our environment and our communities. And now the fracking industry wants to continue that trend of depending on fossil fuels in old-fashioned ways. So the truth is, if we want a healthier community, right now we can do that and have a livable society for the future if we dramatically transform how we as a society power ourselves. The good news is we're seeing an unprecedented growth in recent years in just making that happen. Take the solar energy industry. In just the last 6 years, the cost of solar panels has fallen by 60%. We can make Pennsylvania a 21st century clean energy superpower if we want to. Nationally, we're going to need a plan to make sure we can defend the climate progress we've made over the last 8 years and continue forward. It's going to be hard. We're going to have to do it together. Things are also going to move faster than ever. We see that every day on Twitter. It didn't think it could get faster, but it clearly has. So Penn Environment is actually launching a new program to help with that. Secretary McDonnell said we need more citizens involved. We're launching a new mobile action network. So in a drop of a hat, we can send you a text that will allow you to make a phone call to your legislator and a quick message that you can deliver to them. This has been hugely effective in the past, and we want 20,000 people in our network in just the next 6 months. So text to 21333, and you want to text the message PA Climate. And you'll get updates on your mobile phone every once in a while as urgent bills and legislation and actions and events in your community are happening.
I'm not sure there is a higher priority than confronting climate change. We have, I think, an obligation, all of us, but especially anyone who's an elected official, to confront these kinds of challenges. I think that obligation might be heightened or more substantial if you happen to come from a state like Pennsylvania. You know that great constitutional provision in our state constitution, ratified, gosh, now more than just about 45 years ago, I think it was 1971, Article 1, Section 27, the people shall have a right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of the natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. It goes on to say, as you remember, it goes on to say that we are trustees of our environment. So that's a values statement. It's also a directive, I think. I believe I'm bound by it as a public official and as a citizen. As frustrated as we are, as challenged as we are with this administration in so many ways, we're also determined and we're also motivated to fight like hell when we want to oppose something that they're trying to do to this country. And I think people are energized by that. So I think for inspiration, we need look no further than the people in this room.